Today, we're going to talk about how, as parents, we can't know it all, and it's okay. Now, I am Cynthia Armstrong. I am a mother of two children. They're adults now. I've had the opportunity to homeschool them for multiple years, and I am a public education elementary teacher. I currently work in kind of the general and special education fields in the younger grades. What I want to share with you are the things that I have learned as I've had experiences and how I've asked questions and done research to find out how really I can help my family, myself, and my students. And that's what I would like to share with you. Raising great kids is a privilege and a responsibility. Sometimes our children can't see their own greatness. Sometimes we can't. Other times we can see their greatness but struggle to step up because of our own challenges. We will be discussing the brain science, tools and techniques that help us raise great kids. One of the things as parents is we really want what is best for our children. And we take all of our experiences and our knowledge and the information we have, and we say, then this is what my child must need to have the best possible life. And we want that for them. Like we really, really, really want that for them. But let's go ahead and review a little bit. Remember, as infants, we start making patterns. Actually, in the womb, we start making connections with our neurons, which create the patterns that we think with. And every time we experience something, we come to a conclusion about it. And our brain, it doesn't care if it's right or wrong. It just cares about getting its neurochemical reward because our brain works off a neurochemical reward system. And so as we experience things, our brain makes connections, not based on what is true or what's really going on, but it creates a perception that gets it that reward that it needs. So then as we move to the next day, we take that forward with us and we kind of continue to form that all the way up till today. So how we see things, what we think is the best thing for our children is all based on, again, not the truth, but our perceptions and our connections that our brain is made to get its neurochemical reward. And so then we come to this day and we say, oh, my child has to have this kind of education, or they have to do this well in school, or this is the only way that there is to be happy. And that might be the only way we see right now, but that doesn't make it the only way. And when we kind of go into our life, right, and we take these with us, we're telling our children, sometimes it's, because of this bad experience I had, I am less of a person, so you need to do better than me. What are we teaching our children? That mistakes are bad, that if somebody who we don't have control over does something that affects us, then we must be victims, that we must be less than we really are. And so when we look at our life and we say, oh, our child needs to do better than us, or this is the way they need to be happy, we are confining them and we are kind of lessening us. But what if instead of saying this is the one way, and I'm not saying just let our children do whatever, but to be conscious of our own motivators. Is it fear-based? We want our children to avoid the pain that we had. Well, if that's true, then maybe we need to look at ourselves, because I will tell you that pain is there to teach us, to help us, to grow us. It's not there to make us less. We're not less because of pain we've experienced. Pain is information, and that information is there to teach us. I had a student in a kindergarten class one time, and he would whine and cry and fuss over everything. If he accidentally bumped a chair, or he stumbled a little bit, or somebody looked at him wrong, he would just burst into tears crying, and things like that. And one time he was, tipping back in his chair on 2 feet, and he fell over. So then it's a big to-do, and he's crying. And I go over to check on him, make sure he's okay, give him the comfort. And I said, "Oh, it sounds like that might have hurt. That might have been painful." And he's like, "Yes." And I said, "Well, what I know about pain is that is there to teach us, right? If you put your hand on a hot stove, what does that pain tell us? That we need to move our hand." And so he just kind of looks at me, and he takes a couple of breaths, and he just looks at me. And I don't say anymore. I don't say, "Well, what do you learn from falling over in your chair?" or anything like that. I just allow him to think about it. And it was something that came up again later. But that's the thing. It's not one incident that teaches our children. And it's not one incident that teaches us. It's all these things that we move forward. And if we pause and we say, what is it that I want? What is it that benefits me? Because we can look at things any way we want. It's a perception. Our brain creates perceptions to get its neurochemical reward. And we can teach our brain to get the neurochemical reward off of the programs that we want, out of the thoughts and the feelings that lead us actually to the life that we want. Because again, our brain does not care if we're happy. It doesn't care if it's right or wrong. It's just after its neurochemical reward. And so when we look at our life and at the life we want for our children, if we look at it from that a growth mindset is how people call it a lot, where we're ready to learn, where we want to learn. If we're ready and willing to learn, then the things that happen to us grow us. They don't diminish us. They might cause pain, but pain does not mean suffering. Pain means, oh, here's some information that I can use to boost me to where I want to go. So it's okay that we don't know everything. It's not possible to know everything. What we bring is our knowledge. And again, we do want to teach our children, but we also want to be open to there's more ways to think about it. Instead of saying this is the way it needs to be and then judging our kids or judging ourselves because things don't turn out exactly how we want it, then that will create suffering instead of just having that pain where we can look at it and it teaches us. And I can tell you that pain can be minimized when we accept that pain and learn from it. Because if we don't learn from it, right, if we keep our hand on the stove, then that pain is going to increase because we haven't learned what we needed to, which is to take our hand off. And yes, that's a very simple thing in life. It can be a little more complicated, as we're looking at our patterns, as we're looking at patterns that we've helped our children to develop. And yes, we're not the only one, right? Because there's all the social media and the TV shows and all those things that can add to it. But that's really what I want you to understand is that we don't know everything, and it's okay. And what benefited us, or what we felt would have benefited us in our life now, does not necessarily mean that's what will benefit our children, because we don't know what the future is going to bring, what natural disasters or worldwide catastrophes, or what technologies will be developed to make improvements and ease in our life, so that that job we thought our child needed, because that's one that's going to make them the most money, isn't necessarily going to in the future. And so even though we have like a direction, when we're okay with who we are, when we've taken the time to learn from our past and to understand and be okay with ourselves, with whatever journey we had to get here, and then we allow our children to have their journey. And yes, we do stop if our children are doing things that are absolutely life-threatening, dangerous. There's no holds barred, a definite no. But then when it comes to things like education or job choices, or things like that, like what they hobbies they want to grow or develop. We might think, oh, it needs to be a sports because then you're more likely to get a scholarship and da 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 da. But what if they want to be a stand-up comedian, or one of those shows where you just kind of play off each other? What if that's what interests them? All these things, we don't know where they're going to lead, and we don't know really what it is that will our children need to learn internally. Like, what connections do they need to make um, through the experiences they have to be the happy person, or the person that they want to become. So it's okay that we don't know. Just to be open, to be aware, to have that growth or that learning mindset, and to continue to move forward with our children. And it's a wonderful opportunity. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.